In Alabama, it's technically illegal to put ice cream in your back pocket on Thanksgiving. And that's just the beginning. I found 50 Thanksgiving laws that are so ridiculous, you'll question everything you thought you knew about this holiday. Every year, millions of Americans gather around the table to celebrate Thanksgiving. Turkey, stuffing, pumpkin pie, family arguments about politics, you know the drill. But what you don't know is that while you're carving that turkey, you could be breaking laws that have been on the books for decades. Some of these laws are old, some are new. All of them are absolutely insane. And today, we're going through all 50 of them. Let's get into it. Here's the thing about Thanksgiving laws. Nobody knows they exist. You could be doing something completely normal, something you've done every single year, and technically be a criminal. And I'm not talking about little-known federal regulations. I'm talking about state laws, city ordinances, and local codes that are so specific and so bizarre, they'll make you wonder what was going through these lawmakers' heads. The problem is that these laws never get removed. They just sit there in the legal code, gathering dust, waiting for some poor soul to accidentally break them. And the craziest part? Some of them are still enforceable. So while you're planning your Thanksgiving dinner this year, you might want to pay attention, because by the end of this video, you're going to realize you've probably been a Thanksgiving criminal your entire life. Let's start with the classics. The laws that have been around so long, nobody even remembers why they exist. Law number 1. The turkey pardoning. Isn't what you think everyone knows about the presidential turkey pardon, right? The president stands there, makes some dad jokes, and officially pardons a turkey from being dinner. Cute tradition. But here's what they don't tell you. In some states, if you pardon your own turkey and then eat it anyway, you could technically be charged with fraud. I'm not kidding. There are agricultural laws on the books that regulate the sale and consumption of livestock, and if you publicly declare an animal is not for consumption and then consume it, you're violating those statutes. Now, has anyone ever been prosecuted for this? No. But could they be? Technically, yes. Law number 2. The cranberry sauce color code. In Massachusetts, there's an old law that requires cranberry sauce served at public events to be a specific shade of red. The law was written back when cranberry farming was a huge deal in the state. And they wanted to protect the reputation of Massachusetts cranberries. If your cranberry sauce is too dark or too light, you're technically in violation. And get this, the fine is still on the books. It's only like $50, but still. Imagine getting a ticket because your cranberry sauce wasn't red enough. Law number 3. The stuffing situation. In Texas, there's a health code that technically makes it illegal to stuff a turkey with anything that hasn't been pre-approved by the state agriculture department. This law was written to prevent foodborne illness, which makes sense. But the way it's written, if you get creative with your stuffing and add something that's not on the approved list, you're breaking the law. And the approved list is from 1987. So if you're putting quinoa or kale in your stuffing, congratulations, you're a criminal. Law number 4. The pie prohibition. In Kansas, there's a city ordinance in a small town called Lawrence that makes it illegal to serve cherry pie on Thanksgiving. Why? Because back in the 1950s, the town had a cherry pie eating contest that ended in a massive food fight. The mayor at the time was so angry, he banned cherry pie on Thanksgiving specifically. The law never got repealed, so if you live in Lawrence, Kansas, and you want cherry pie on Thanksgiving, you better wait until Friday. Law number 5. The gravy gravity. This one's from Louisiana. There's a law that says gravy served at public Thanksgiving dinners must be a certain consistency. Too thin, you're in violation. Too thick, also a violation. The law was written because of a lawsuit where someone claimed they choked on gravy that was too thick. Instead of just dismissing the lawsuit like a normal place would, Louisiana codified gravy consistency into law. There's literally a state-approved viscosity measurement for gravy. Law number 6. The football fiasco. In Ohio, it's illegal to play tackle football on Thanksgiving Day within city limits in certain counties. This law exists because back in the 1960s, a bunch of dads got too competitive during a family football game and ended up in a brawl that required police intervention. Instead of just letting people be stupid, Ohio decided to ban the whole activity. You can still play touch football, but tackle? That's a misdemeanor. Law number 7. The decorative dilemma. California has a law that regulates Thanksgiving decorations on public property. Specifically, you can't have decorations that depict pilgrims and Native Americans together unless the display has been approved by a cultural sensitivity board. This law is actually pretty recent, passed in 2019. The intention was good, trying to avoid offensive stereotypes, but the way it's written, even historically accurate displays need approval, and the approval process takes 6 weeks. So good luck getting that done in time for Thanksgiving. Law number 8. The alcohol absurdity. In Utah, you can't serve alcohol at a public Thanksgiving dinner unless every single person at the event is over 21. Not just the people drinking, everyone, even the kids. If there's a baby at the table, no alcohol allowed. This is because Utah has some of the strictest alcohol laws in the country, and they apply to all public gatherings. So if you're planning a community Thanksgiving in Utah, it's either a dry event or adults only. Law number 9. The leftover litigation. Minnesota has a law about Thanksgiving leftovers. If you take food home from a public Thanksgiving event, like a community dinner or a church gathering, the organization has to provide you with written instructions on how to safely store and reheat the food. If they don't and you get sick, they can be held liable, which means every church in Minnesota has to print out food safety pamphlets just to hand out leftover turkey. The amount of paperwork this creates is insane. Law number 10. The prayer problem. In several southern states, there are laws on the books that technically require a prayer before public Thanksgiving meals. These laws are from the 1800s and are absolutely unconstitutional. They would never hold up in court. But they're still written into state codes, and every few years, someone tries to enforce one of these laws, it goes to court, the court says no, and nothing changes. The laws just stay there. Law number 11. The mashed potato mandate. Idaho takes its potatoes seriously. So seriously that there's a law requiring any Thanksgiving dinner served at a restaurant to include Idaho potatoes, if potatoes are served at all. You can't use potatoes from Washington or Oregon. It has to be Idaho potatoes. Restaurants have to show proof of purchase from Idaho distributors. And if you're caught using out-of-state potatoes, the fine is steep. Idaho doesn't mess around when it comes to their potatoes. Law number 12. The turkey size standard. In Vermont, there's a maximum size limit for turkeys served at public events. The bird can't weigh more than 25 pounds. This law exists because of a cooking incident where a 40-pound turkey wasn't cooked properly and hundreds of people got food poisoning. Instead of just teaching people how to cook large birds properly, Vermont decided to ban them entirely. If your turkey is 26 pounds, you're breaking the law. Law number 13. The Black Friday ban. Some cities in Oregon have laws that make it illegal for retail stores to open on Thanksgiving Day. Not Black Friday. Thanksgiving itself. The law was passed to give retail workers the day off, which is actually nice. Law number 14. The noise ordinance nonsense. In New York, specifically in some parts of Brooklyn, there's a noise ordinance that gets extra strict on Thanksgiving. You can't have music playing above a certain decibel level, even inside your own home. The law was written because of noise complaints about large family gatherings, and the cutoff time is 8 p.m. After that, if your Thanksgiving dinner gets too loud, your neighbors can call the cops and you'll get a fine. Law number 15. The Native American narrative. In South Dakota, there's a law that requires public schools teaching about Thanksgiving to include specific content about Native American perspectives. Which sounds great, right? Except the law is so specific about what can and can't be said that teachers are basically reading from a script. And if they deviate from the approved curriculum, the school can lose funding. So instead of encouraging honest education, the law created a rigid system that nobody's happy with. Law number 16. The parade permit problem. If you want to have a Thanksgiving parade, even a small neighborhood one, you need permits in almost every city in America. But in Chicago, the permit process is so complicated that it takes months. You need approval from the police department, the fire department, the parks department, and the city council. You need insurance, you need safety plans, you need traffic management plans. For a parade, the amount of bureaucracy is staggering. Law number 17. The charity catch. In Florida, if you're hosting a free Thanksgiving dinner for people in need, you need a special permit. And to get that permit, you have to prove that the food you're serving meets health standards. Which means you need a health inspector to come check out your kitchen. And health inspectors don't work on Thanksgiving. So you have to schedule the inspection days in advance, cook everything early, store it properly, and then reheat it on Thanksgiving Day. The law makes it incredibly difficult to just help people. Law number 18. The hunting holiday. In several states, Thanksgiving is part of hunting season, which means there are laws about what you can and can't hunt on Thanksgiving Day specifically. In Pennsylvania, you can hunt deer, but not turkey, which is ironic because it's literally Thanksgiving. In Michigan, you can't hunt anything on Thanksgiving until afternoon. And in Wisconsin, if you hunt a turkey on Thanksgiving, you have to report it to the DNR within 24 hours. The bureaucracy around shooting a bird is incredible. Law number 19. The wishbone weirdness. In Tennessee, there's an old law that says wishbones can't be used in games of chance for money. meaning you can't bet on who gets the bigger half of the wishbone. This law was written during a time when gambling laws were super strict, and apparently wishbone betting was enough of a problem that they had to legislate it. The law is still on the books, even though nobody enforces it anymore. Law number 20. The green bean guidance. In Georgia, green bean casserole served at public events has to follow a specific recipe approved by the state health department. You can't get creative. You can't add extra ingredients. You have to follow the recipe exactly. This law exists because of a food poisoning incident in the 1970s, where someone added mushrooms that weren't cooked properly. Instead of just saying cook your mushrooms, Georgia decided to regulate the entire dish. Law number 21. The Friendsgiving fumble. In some cities in California, if you're hosting a large Friendsgiving, technically you need a permit if you're inviting more than 20 people. This is because of zoning laws and occupancy limits. Your apartment or house has a maximum occupancy rating, and if you exceed it, you're in violation of fire codes. Most people don't know this, and most of the time, nobody cares. But if a neighbor complains, you could actually get fined. Law number 22. The tablecloth requirement. In Virginia, there's a law that requires tablecloths at public Thanksgiving dinners. Not just any tablecloth, it has to be a specific material, either cotton or linen. Plastic tablecloths don't count. This law is tied to fire safety regulations because apparently plastic tablecloths near candles are a fire hazard, which makes sense. But the fact that it's written into law specifically for Thanksgiving dinners is bizarre. Law number 23. The sweet potato scandal. North Carolina and Louisiana have an ongoing legal dispute about which state can claim sweet potatoes as their official Thanksgiving vegetable. Both states have laws on the books claiming ownership, and both states have tried to sue each other over it. The legal battle has been going on for years. It's the dumbest interstate dispute in American history, and it's still not resolved. Law number 24. The bread roll rules. In Nebraska, there's a law that says bread rolls served at public Thanksgiving dinners must be baked fresh within 24 hours of serving. You can't use frozen rolls. You can't use day-old rolls. They have to be fresh. This law exists because of a health code violation at a community dinner in the 1990s. And instead of just punishing the one organization that messed up, Nebraska made it a statewide rule. Law number 25. The dress code disaster. In Massachusetts, there's an old law that technically requires formal attire at public Thanksgiving events. The law is from the 1800s when Thanksgiving was a much more formal affair. Nobody enforces it anymore, but it's still written into the books. So technically, if you show up to a public Thanksgiving dinner in jeans and a t-shirt, you're in violation. The fine is listed as 2 shillings, which doesn't even exist as currency anymore. Law number 26. The pumpkin problem. In Illinois, you can't carve pumpkins on Thanksgiving Day in certain counties. This law exists because of the overlap between Halloween and Thanksgiving decorations. Some counties wanted to keep the holidays separate, so they banned pumpkin carving after Halloween. Which means if you want to carve a Thanksgiving-themed pumpkin, you either have to do it before Halloween or wait until the day after Thanksgiving. The logic makes zero sense. Law number 27. The volunteer violation. If you volunteer at a soup kitchen or community Thanksgiving dinner in New York, you have to have a background check. Which sounds reasonable, right? Except the background check takes 3 weeks. So if you decide last minute that you want to volunteer on Thanksgiving, you can't. You needed to plan ahead. And if the organization lets you volunteer without the background check, they can lose their nonprofit status. Law number 28. The seating scandal. In Arizona, there's a law about seating arrangements at public Thanksgiving dinners. Tables have to be arranged in rows, not circles. And there has to be a specific amount of space between each chair. This is technically a fire code, but it applies specifically to Thanksgiving events because of an incident where a fire broke out and people couldn't evacuate quickly enough. Now, every Thanksgiving dinner has to follow the exact seating arrangement dictated by law. Law number 29. The napkin nonsense. In Delaware, cloth napkins are required at public Thanksgiving dinners. Paper napkins don't meet the legal standard. This law is tied to waste management regulations. The state wanted to reduce paper waste, so they mandated cloth napkins at large public events, which sounds environmentally friendly until you realize that means every organization has to buy, wash, and store hundreds of cloth napkins just for one dinner a year. Law number 30. The cooking class requirement. In Washington state, if you're preparing food for more than 50 people on Thanksgiving, you have to have completed a state-approved food safety course, even if you're just cooking for your family reunion. The law considers any gathering over 50 people a public event, which means professional food handling standards apply. And the course costs $200 and takes 8 hours to complete. Law number 31. The drumstick dispute. In Kentucky, there's a law about who gets the turkey drumsticks at public dinners. They have to be distributed fairly. You can't give them out on a first-come, first-served basis. Everyone has to have an equal chance. This law exists because of complaints about favoritism at community dinners. And the way they enforce it is by requiring organizations to use a lottery system for drumsticks. It's the most ridiculous lottery in existence. Law number 32. The blessing ban. In Oregon, public schools can't have any religious content in their Thanksgiving celebrations, which includes blessings before meals. If a teacher leads a prayer, even a non-denominational one, they can be disciplined. This law has been challenged multiple times, but it keeps getting upheld. So Thanksgiving celebrations in Oregon schools are completely secular by law. Law number 33. The tofurkey trouble. In Indiana, if you serve a vegetarian turkey alternative at a public Thanksgiving dinner, you can't call it turkey. You have to call it a plant-based turkey alternative. This is because of agricultural lobbying. The meat industry pushed for laws that prevent plant-based products from using meat names. So tofurkey technically is illegal to label as turkey in Indiana. You can serve it, you just can't call it what everyone calls it. Law number 34. The cranberry controversy. Wisconsin has a law that says cranberries served on Thanksgiving must be from Wisconsin. Similar to Idaho's potato law, Wisconsin takes its cranberries seriously. If you're caught serving cranberries from another state at a public dinner, the fine is $500. And they actually enforce this. The state cranberry board sends inspectors to public Thanksgiving events to check the origin of the cranberries. Law number 35. The guest list requirement. In Maryland, if you're hosting a Thanksgiving dinner for more than 30 people, you have to submit a guest list to the fire marshal. This is for occupancy and safety reasons. But the way it's enforced is absurd. You have to submit the list 48 hours in advance, which means if someone RSVPs last minute, technically you can't let them in without updating the fire marshal. Nobody actually does this, but the law exists. Law number 36. The temperature tyranny. In New Mexico, there's a law about what temperature food has to be served at. Hot food has to be above 140 degrees. Cold food has to be below 40 degrees. And there's a danger zone in between where food can't sit for more than 2 hours. On Thanksgiving, when people are eating for hours, this creates a legal nightmare. Technically, if your mashed potatoes drop below 140 degrees and sit there for more than 2 hours, you're in violation of health codes. Law number 37. The donation dilemma. In several states, if you want to donate your leftover Thanksgiving food to a homeless shelter, you can't. Health codes prevent individuals from donating home-cooked food. Only food prepared in commercial kitchens with health inspections can be donated, which means all those leftovers you can't finish. Legally, they have to go in the trash. You can't give them to people who need them. Law number 38. The hosting hurdle. In Hawaii, if you're hosting a Thanksgiving luau, you need a special permit, even if it's on private property. The permit costs $150 and requires proof of liability insurance. This law exists because of lawsuits related to luau injuries. And yes, apparently luau-related injuries are common enough in Hawaii that they had to legislate it. Law number 39. The corn conflict. In Iowa, corn served at Thanksgiving dinners must be Iowa corn. Are you seeing a pattern here? Every agricultural state has laws protecting their signature crop. Iowa corn, Idaho potatoes, Wisconsin cranberries. It's all about state pride and agricultural lobbying. And if you violate these laws, the fines are designed to hurt. Law number 40. The second helping situation. In Arkansas, at public Thanksgiving dinners, there's a law about second helpings. You can only go back for seconds once. After that, you're cut off. This law was written to prevent food waste and ensure everyone gets fed. But the way it's enforced is through volunteers who literally police the buffet line. And if you try to go back a third time, they can legally refuse to serve you. Law number 41. The pet problem. In Connecticut, you can't bring your dog to an outdoor Thanksgiving gathering, even if it's in a public park. Health codes prohibit animals near food service areas, which means if you're having a Thanksgiving picnic and you bring your dog, you're technically breaking the law. The fine is $100. And yes, people have been fined for this. Law number 42. The recipe requirement. In Nevada, if you're selling prepared Thanksgiving meals, you have to provide the recipes to the health department. This is so they can verify that food safety standards are being met, but it also means that restaurants have to give up their secret recipes, and if they refuse, they can't sell Thanksgiving meals. Several restaurants have challenged this law, but it keeps getting upheld. Law number 43. The time limit. In Colorado, public Thanksgiving dinners can't last longer than 4 hours. After 4 hours, the event has to end. This is because of noise ordinances and occupancy permits. The logic is that events lasting longer than 4 hours require additional permits and police presence. So if your community Thanksgiving dinner is going strong at hour 5, technically it's an illegal gathering. Law number 44. The leftover limit. In New Hampshire, there's a limit to how many leftovers you can take home from a public Thanksgiving dinner. You're allowed 1 container per person. If you try to take more, the organization can refuse. This law exists to prevent people from hoarding food, but it also means that families can't take home enough leftovers to last the weekend. The container size isn't even specified, which makes enforcement completely arbitrary. Law number 45. The alcohol advertising. In South Carolina, you can't advertise a Thanksgiving dinner that includes alcohol. You can serve alcohol at the event, but you can't mention it in promotional materials. This law is tied to strict alcohol advertising regulations. So if you're promoting a Thanksgiving wine pairing dinner, you have to call it a Thanksgiving dinner with beverage pairings and hope people figure it out. Law number 46. The cleanup code. In Michigan, after a public Thanksgiving dinner, the venue has to be cleaned to health department standards within 4 hours of the event ending. If the cleanup takes longer, the organization can be fined. This law makes late-night Thanksgiving events nearly impossible because nobody wants to stay until 2 a.m. cleaning up to avoid a fine. Law number 47. The performance problem. In Montana, you can't have live entertainment at a Thanksgiving dinner without a permit, even if it's just someone playing guitar. The permit costs $75 and requires proof of insurance. This law exists because of liability concerns, but it makes community Thanksgiving dinners way more complicated than they need to be. Law number 48. The smoking section. In Rhode Island, if you're hosting an outdoor Thanksgiving event, you have to designate a smoking section at least 50 feet away from the food area. And you have to post signs. If you don't, the event can be shut down. This law is part of broader anti-smoking regulations, but it applies specifically to Thanksgiving because of complaints about smoking near food. Law number 49. The photography policy. In several states, if you're taking photos at a public Thanksgiving dinner and you plan to post them online, you need signed consent forms from everyone in the photos. This is because of privacy laws and concerns about images of minors being posted online. Organizations hosting Thanksgiving dinners now have to have stacks of consent forms ready. And if someone refuses to sign, they can't be in any photos. Law number 50. The Zoom zoning. And finally, the newest and weirdest Thanksgiving law. In parts of California, if you're hosting a virtual Thanksgiving dinner, like a Zoom call with family, and you're accepting donations or charging admission, you need a business license. That's right. Virtual Thanksgiving dinners are now considered business activities in some jurisdictions. This law was passed in 2021 after some people started charging for virtual cooking classes and holiday gatherings. And now, technically, if you're doing a paid virtual Thanksgiving event, you're running a business. So here's the big question. Why do all these laws exist? What is it about Thanksgiving that makes lawmakers lose their minds? The answer is simple. Thanksgiving is one of the few holidays that involves large public gatherings, food preparation, and commerce all at the same time. It's a perfect storm for regulation. You've got health codes, safety regulations, agricultural protections, religious freedom concerns, and business licensing all colliding on one day. And because Thanksgiving is so deeply tied to American identity, any issue that comes up on Thanksgiving gets turned into a law. Someone gets food poisoning, new health code. Someone gets injured at a parade, new permit requirements. Someone feels excluded, new cultural sensitivity regulations. The problem is that laws are easy to create and hard to remove. So all these Thanksgiving regulations just pile up year after year, decade after decade. And now we're left with this bizarre patchwork of rules that most people don't even know about. The craziest part? Most of these laws are well-intentioned. They were created to solve real problems. But the solutions became so specific and so rigid that they created new problems. And instead of fixing the laws, we just keep adding more. So this Thanksgiving, when you're sitting at the table with your family, just remember, you're probably breaking at least 3 laws. And honestly, that's the most American thing you can do. Thanksgiving laws are a perfect example of how government regulation can spiral out of control. What starts as a reasonable attempt to protect public health or safety turns into an absurd set of rules that nobody can follow. And the worst part is that these laws don't just disappear. They stick around forever, creating confusion and making life harder for people who are just trying to celebrate a holiday. From cranberry sauce color codes to turkey size limits, from gravy viscosity standards to drumstick lotteries, these laws show us that sometimes the government really doesn't know when to stop. And while most of these laws are never enforced, the fact that they exist at all is a reminder that we live in a country that loves to regulate everything, even our holidays. So this Thanksgiving, before you sit down to eat, take a moment to appreciate the fact that you're participating in one of the most over-regulated holidays in existence. And if you happen to break a few of these laws along the way, don't worry, you're in good company. Pretty much everyone else is breaking them too. If this was insane, there's way more where that came from.